Welcome back, passionate collectors, sharp-eyed treasure hunters, and everyone who loves uncovering unbelievable value hiding in plain sight to rare coin legacy, the channel where even modern pocket change can transform into legendary fortune stories. Because today, we are diving deep into one of the most controversial and fascinating modern numismatic ideas ever discussed. The extraordinary possibility that a 2011 1-cent coin, a penny that millions of people have handled, spent, and ignored, could under extremely rare and specific circumstances reach an astonishing value of $7 million due to a powerful convergence of minting errors, production mistakes, experimental anomalies, overlooked defects, and collector-driven scarcity that together elevate a simple Lincoln cent into the highest tier of modern coin legends. And to truly understand how such a valuation can even be imagined, you must first understand the unique environment in which the United States Mint was operating in 2011, a period defined by economic recovery pressures following the global financial crisis, aggressive cost-cutting mandates, soaring metal prices, and relentless production demands that forced mint facilities to strike billions of coins with maximum efficiency while minimizing downtime, which in turn meant dies were used longer, quality control thresholds were stretched, and experimental processes quietly ran in the background, all of which created exactly the conditions where rare and dramatic errors could slip through unnoticed, especially on the 1-cent coin, which historically receives the least individual attention despite being produced in the highest quantities. And one of the most explosive possibilities behind the $7 million 2011 cent narrative is a wrong metal composition error. Because although 2011 cents were officially struck on copper-plated zinc planchets, the Mint had been researching alternative metals, plating thicknesses, and bonding processes for years due to rising copper costs, and during testing, calibration, and maintenance cycles, experimental planchets, rejected test blanks, or improperly segregated materials could remain within mint facilities, and numismatic history has repeatedly proven that even with strict controls, non-standard planchets occasionally find their way into circulation presses, producing coins that are fundamentally different in weight, density, sound, magnetic response, and long-term aging behavior, and a confirmed 2011 cent struck on an experimental alloy, unintended solid copper planchet, or any non-standard core would instantly become one of the rarest modern Lincoln cents ever discovered, because it would represent a documented failure during an era when such mistakes were believed to be nearly impossible. But composition alone does not explain the staggering valuation, because the hypothetical $7 million 2011 cent would almost certainly feature a true double die obverse, an error created during the die hubbing process rather than during striking, where the design was impressed more than once at slightly misaligned positions, resulting in bold and unmistakable doubling in the date numerals, thickened and clearly separated lettering in Liberty, and dramatic duplication in In God We Trust that remains visible regardless of strike pressure or circulation wear. And true double dies from the modern era are exceptionally rare due to advanced digital die creation technology, which means any confirmed 2011 double die obverse would immediately attract intense global attention from collectors, researchers, and institutions. But in numismatics, rarity does not simply add, it multiplies, and when such a double die appears on a coin already suspected of having an incorrect or experimental composition, its desirability escalates exponentially. And then comes the role of severe die deterioration, a phenomenon that became increasingly common in the late 2000s and early 2010s as the Mint pushed dies far beyond their ideal usage limits to reduce costs and increase output, resulting in collapsing fields, distorted lettering, swollen design elements, and dramatic metal flow that reshaped Lincoln's portrait in strange and visually striking ways. And extreme die deterioration can create a rough, almost melted texture across the coin surface, with distorted jawlines, thickened rims, smeared letters, and loss of fine detail that paradoxically increases desirability when combined with other major errors, because it represents a unique and unrepeatable stage in the life of a failing die, and when severe die deterioration occurs alongside a true double die on a 2011 cent, the resulting coin becomes a one-of-a-kind artifact that can never be replicated. And adding yet another layer of intrigue is the possibility of major die breaks and retained cuts, where pieces of the die physically fracture and either fall away or remain partially attached, creating large raised blobs of metal on the struck coin that interrupt the design, sometimes covering parts of Lincoln's head, the date, or the rim. And retained cut errors are especially prized because they represent a frozen moment of catastrophic die failure that could only occur for a brief window before the die was removed from service, and when such a retained cut appears on a coin already exhibiting doubling, composition anomalies, and die deterioration, the rarity approaches a theoretical extreme, because the probability of all these failures occurring together on a single modern coin is extraordinarily low. And then there is the possibility of a dramatic multi-strike error, where a planchet failed to eject properly and was struck more than once, sometimes at different rotations or offsets, creating overlapping designs, rotated impressions, or partial blockage effects where the design of one coin is impressed into another. And while modern presses are equipped with advanced sensors to prevent such events, no system is flawless, especially during jams, power fluctuations, maintenance restarts, or high-speed production runs, and a multi-struck 2011 cent that still clearly displays doubling, die deterioration, and other diagnostics would be visually breathtaking and historically significant, instantly commanding attention from elite collectors. And another powerful contributor to the $7 million valuation theory is the potential for extreme die clash evidence, where obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, transferring ghostly outlines of Lincoln's portrait onto the reverse or elements of the shield reverse onto the obverse. And while minor die clashes are relatively common, extreme clashes with bold mirror details are rare in modern coinage where tolerances are tight. And when such clashes appear alongside other major errors, they signal a cascading failure of minting systems that collectors find irresistible, and wrong planchet errors beyond experimental alloys also remain a tantalizing possibility, because the mint produces multiple denominations simultaneously and occasionally strikes foreign coins under contract, and despite strict controls, wrong planchet strikes continue to occur. And a 2011 cent struck on a foreign blank or a blank intended for another denomination would be instantly recognizable by its unusual size, thickness, or weight, making it one of the most unique modern cents imaginable, especially if the strike were strong and well-centered. And mint mark location can further amplify desirability, because different facilities use different machinery, suppliers, and production rhythms. And a unique error tied to a specific mint and year combination with no known parallels becomes exponentially more desirable to collectors who specialize in modern era coins and competitive registry sets. And condition is the final and most critical amplifier of value, because while many era coins survive in circulated or damaged states, the hypothetical $7,002,011 cent would need to be preserved in exceptional uncirculated condition, with clean surfaces, minimal contact marks, strong eye appeal, and clear visibility of every error diagnostic, because high-end collectors are not simply buying rarity, they are buying visual storytelling. A coin that instantly communicates its extraordinary origin the moment it is seen, and authentication is the ultimate gatekeeper, because only coins certified by top-tier grading services with detailed error attributions can command prices in the millions.